Lovely stuff. Graham, good to see you again.
Hi,
Look, I'm sure everyone's still reeling from last night and how good it was for Andy Cook. I guess first question is, how is he this morning? And physically, how is he this morning?
Stiff. Very happy, but very stiff. I caught him earlier on and asked him how he was feeling physically, and he said, just haven't felt like this for a long time, which is obvious, but I think it's a good feeling that, when you've sort of worked hard and you're feeling sore the day after a game. I think that's one of the feelings I've probably missed from playing days. That you've put a shift in for your team, and Cookie's not had that experience for a while. He's as happy as you'd expect to be. Such a long layoff and then scored 2 goals to help us win a game of football, or to win the game. Yeah,
and knowing him as we all do, that's quite infectious when it comes from Andy Cook. I mean, just how's it been for the group just to have him back in and amongst it? Has it been a boost?
I think, the players have had him around for a while now, in training and everything. So I think having on match days is good for him. It's good for the group to see another good player in our midst. But we know the quality we have throughout our squad, and it's always important that it's something that we've been quite big on from when we come in, that we wanted to have a proper team, and it was about everyone together, and we have that. But what I like, Cookie buys into that. He, I think, sometimes gets lifted above the profile of the team in the past because of his goals. Listen, I think there's players that like that sort of adulation, but for me, we want to bring it down there. Everyone's got a part to play. Everyone has a contribution to make. No one's bigger than the team, all that sort of thing. And I include absolutely every person at the club in that respect, including myself. So, but look, we want to see. I think we have a genuine care for each other at this club, with our teammates and us, our work colleagues. And when you see somebody else having a really good moment and doing well, then I think we all take enjoyment from that. And it's good to see, because we want everybody to enjoy their careers. Yeah,
and I know you touched on it last night that you'll have to be careful with his comeback, and there's still further recovery for him to do, and the road's not complete. And on that point, can you consider him for Saturday, or do you have to be careful with his comeback as it has been so far?
I think that's it's not straightforward as you'd expect. That he's come back, because ultimately the 20 minutes he had last night, or 23 minutes or something, was instead of what should have been a training game, behind the scenes, away from the pressure of a game. So, we still have to understand that's where he is. It's just that it's been impossible for us to create 11v11s in training or get bounce games, because we just haven't had the time. So we'll speak to Bobby. I know when I spoke to Bobby about him being included last night, the precursor with that and the asterisk was, but that doesn't mean that he's definitely available for Saturday. That was from Bobby. So we have to understand and just assess where Cookie is. I'll be surprised if he gets rid of all the soreness and stiffness by the time the weekend comes, but I've got an open mind about where that is. But we just have to make sure that we don't just think everything's rosy now, let's crack on. He's in with the group full time and can do everything, because he can't. So we just have to make sure, step by step, we're really disciplined. It'd be a waste of time of us all being so disciplined, and especially Cookie for 8 or 9 months, then just to lose our patience at the end and do something wrong that sets him back. So we'll see how he progresses this week. And
to not labour Andy Cook's point too much in this chat, but it goes without saying, we know his qualities, we know what he can do, but just to see it back out there for you as an option now, maybe a different profile of forward, it must be a real benefit to have that near enough back for you. Yeah,
that's how I see it for me. That we have another weapon in the toolbox or in the arsenal to win a game of football, a very potent one. But all the players have their contributions to make, but I think he does have a different profile from the other forwards at the club. I think his goal record stands out alone, to be honest. But the other players have different attributes which will help us win games going forward. So If we can have that in all our positions where we've got a variety of skills and abilities, but all of them contribute, then it's better for me, it's better for the club, better for our long-term sort of ambitions, that we have as many players that are capable of helping us win any game of football, because they're all different, they all have different challenges, and all the players have different attributes. So the better we know a player, the better we know who's suited to what, and we know if we're getting their good deliveries into the box, if we've got pressure around the box, then Andy Cook is a standout performer in the opposition's box.
To build on that point of variety and having options within your squad, we've just had the chance to chat with Brad Halliday, and obviously an option for you, but maybe hasn't played as many minutes as what we've seen in recent years. We spoke to him about that, and very, very clear in his answering was that it is all about team first, and very understanding, if not enjoying the different challenge at the moment of seeing things differently and communicating with Josh Nerfield in particular. As a manager, how good is that to have someone who is so understanding of that notion, team first, and very much bought into the squad mentality?
It's everything to me personally. It's what we want the whole group to have, and I know it's difficult, and I've said this many times that I wasn't particularly good at it myself as a player. So anyone like Brad who is having that mentality is better than I was. But this, what I like about it, if we're talking about Brad in isolation, is he's understanding. He wants the team to do well. He wants his teammates to do well, but he's still got a real hard competitive edge that you can't tell the difference when he's training, whether he's playing or not. He's always at it, and that's where I think professional footballers have to separate the mindset of I understand the situation, but I'm still a fierce competitor, and not let that sort of understanding drift into your performance and just drift along. Brad doesn't do that. He's at it every day. He's like you say, if you watched him from Monday to Friday, you didn't know if he was playing or he had played or not. And that's the consistency that we need in our team. I didn't think we had that in the first half last night, that consistency of being at it. I thought we were off it. And in the second half, we had it, and we obviously won the game. So I have empathy for players like Brad and other players that aren't playing as regular as they're used to. But I also have to have a focus on the team winning as often as possible, and always developing the team. And the improvements we always try to make, I believe, as we're trying to improve the team, the club, that players, if they have the right mindset, can make that improvement with us. It's not just a case of moving players on and bringing better in. Actually, I think we can improve the players that we have here anyway, as long as they have the right mental attitude to do that. And I believe Brad is one of those guys. On
the window front, it is now closed.
Yes.
More generally, are you pleased with what you were able to succeed with throughout the whole window, and in particular the deadline day activity?
Yeah, definitely. I think we spoke last week about the need in my mind for one more player in a certain position, and we brought that player in Tom. So we're delighted to do that business, and obviously the potential outgoings, it was down to the players to decide what was best for their futures, and we wish them all well on their future endeavours. I was quite clear right from the start. I didn't want anyone to have a grey area or not understand their position. So I was honest, but the players understood that, and I've touched base with them since they've gone as well. So we wish them all the best, but it was right for them, it was right for us. And like I said, it didn't have any impact on what we were going to bring in. We needed one more player. So it was great to finally get that done on deadline day with 6 minutes to spare or something. But we were quite confident that we would get the player that we wanted to. And so it was quite a peaceful sort of last couple of hours, really, and understanding we had what we needed to get right in our sights, and managed to get over the line. So now we can get down to just cracking on with winning games, which the players have been doing great anyway so far.
What was it about Tom in particular, and why was it that position that you wanted to strengthen?
I know I used last year as a real strong reference point for myself, and I remember us getting 3 injuries to centre halves, and we played with 3 centre halves, and it really damaged us as a team. I think it was a considerable amount of time where we were, picking different teams, different formations, and it was just patching things up all the time, and it nearly took us away from our ambitions. And I just felt, looking at the squad, we've got 2 injured centre halves at the moment, and we were just right on the edge. We've got 3 playing, 1 on the bench. That's the minimum we can have, and we needed to make sure we kept that competition going forward. We wanted to bring in a player that gave us good balance across the back line, who had experience but is still relatively young. And I think he ticks all the boxes in Tom. He's a great lad. Met him for the first time yesterday. Spoke to him obviously on the phone the other day, and obviously we had the game yesterday, but he was at the game last night to see how we do things, and he's trained with the boys this morning. So he'll hit the ground running, competing with all the other guys to get in the team, and hopefully show what he can do. So I'm really happy with what we've done over the course of the whole summer, not just on the deadline day.
Yeah. Sticking with defenders, I wanted to ask you about Aidan Baldwin, if I may. He's obviously played a really big hand in your positive start to this season. Obviously Doncaster away next for you, and his season ended rather abruptly in the game last season. Just given how that all unfolded, there was a lot of emotion from supporters and the like in the aftermath and whatnot, whether, given he's really integrated back into the team at the start of this season and been so consistent, whether that was, as a manager, something you put particular attention on, or anything differently in regards to just how to look after that situation?
If I sense that it's being carried forward by the player, then I obviously intervene. If I think the player's just getting on with his job and cracking on, then what's the point in talking about it? I don't go over old scars and things. I just look at the next action or the next day, the behaviour of the player. So that for me is the most important thing. It was difficult for Aidan in pre-season because obviously he missed the end of last season, the last game, and then obviously his suspension went into the start of this season. So when you're a player and you're going through all the pre-season knowing that you've not got an opportunity to start, but he did miss a few weeks as well with an injury. So it's a sort of, he was in a sort of a little bit of limbo in pre-season, and so was I really, because obviously we were preparing for the first game of the season, and obviously that wasn't going to include Aidan. So, but he's worked well. He's really integrated into how we do things here. It's maybe a little bit different from where he's been before. I think he's another player that when I spoke to when we brought him in, or before we brought him in, that I believe he had real potential to play at a higher level, but there was things he had to fix in his game. So we worked hard on that with him. But you see his passing range last night, it was absolute radar. Yeah. And he's capable of any pass in the game, but he has to be a defender first. And I just felt in that set at half-time, with the way the game had gone, we needed him to be dictating the game, and he certainly did that. His passing range was brilliant. So, and he was really good defensively. When he was left one-on-one with the striker. For me, mistakes, and he did make a mistake on that day. He let himself down. He let the team down. But we've all been there. Honestly, I've been there. Chris has been there. Doyle has been there. Chewy. What do? Carry it forward, hold it against people, or do we just come on? Let's crack on with life, and that's what I see in it. If they want to carry it forward and walk around with it, then I'll have to intervene. But if they just want to crack on with life, then that's good enough for me. And what I've seen from Aidan is he just wants to be a part of this team and enjoy his football.
As I say, Doncaster for you next. As a challenge, how do you view them? I know you're very much team first in what you can do, but obviously similar situation really, come up with momentum and have really settled into life of League One. Yeah,
they have. Yeah, like I said last week before we played Wimbledon, I think all the 4 clubs that came up did a great job last season. They've all got winning mentalities. They've all got good habits within their squad to be able to be successful over the course of a season, and then taking it into the next season. So we know of their threats, we know of their strengths, but we also know of ours. The biggest thing, and I know I repeat it, but it's the same question about the next opponent. But that's how I see the game. That's how I see you got to deal with yourself. And if you're looking across at other people all the time, how they're behaving, and you've not got your own stuff in place, then you're letting yourself down. So we need to be on top of our game as often as possible, regardless of the opponent, whether it's a Championship club, Premier League club from League Two, it doesn't matter. Our standards, how I look at my team is our standards have been set. So last night, that's why I wasn't happy with the first half, because our standards were nowhere near. Whether we conceded in the first half or not, or whether they were down 10 men or not, it didn't matter. Our levels were down, and I can see it, I can feel it. And then I have to look into why that is, and I have to get to the bottom of it, and then correct it as quick as possible to win a game of football. But I think there's always lessons to be learned from every game, and last night was a lesson for us to learn. But as long as we're learning while we're winning, it's a great habit to have. But we know the challenge on Saturday, but I'm sure they'll be aware of the challenge that's coming their way as well. So I think it's two very good teams that know each other relatively well, and I'm looking forward to the game. The atmosphere will be great, and we're looking to obviously win the game as we always do.
And just on the team news front, firstly, how close is Neil Byrne for being back to you?
He took part in a little bit of training today, him and Matt Pennington, but not with the full training group. So just part for the first 10 minutes, and then they went to the side with the medical team and did a little bit extra. But Byrne's progress has been superb, really, because of the type of injury and the first sort of diagnosis about how long he was going to be out. He's ahead of schedule, but as with all the players, we just don't get ahead of ourselves. We assess how they are the day after they train, but Bernard's the type of guy who does everything by the book and more. To be honest, he's a brilliant professional, great character. We all want him to do well and be back available, because I feel we've missed him, to be honest, just how he is around the place and on the pitch, and it'd be good to have them both back, but I think it'll be after the weekend before they're training fully with us, to be honest.
And any other fresh concerns at all going into Saturday?
No, everyone was okay after the game last night, so obviously the players that missed out on the squad last night, that was just we're giving them that bit of recovery time in between the games to be available for us. So I think come Friday, I think we'll have the majority of the squad that's been available again.
Thank you, Graham. Cheers.
Okay, mate.
When we look at football today, compared to certainly to when I was growing up, injuries like Andy Cook's could have been career-ending in those days. But from a manager's point of view, that means you must be having to learn all the time from what the medical staff are telling you, and your job is continually changing.
Yeah, I don't particularly try to learn from them. I just listen to them and then move on. Honestly, I don't take it. I never took it in as a player. I just wanted to tell you if I was injured, what I have to do to get fit, and that was it. If they started talking to me about ligaments and muscles, honestly, my mind just looked out the window with a vacant stare. So I'm not saying it in a rude way, but I don't really want to particularly understand the nature of the injury. I think I need to keep my focus on what's important, but I trust my medical team. I trust the guys that are in there to talk about the injury and their recovery process. But I come in on the side of it with my football experience, my experience of being that guy, maybe as a professional footballer, desperate to get back, this, that, the other. So together we form a team that helps the player in the best way. But I think we look into, even when we're talking about it as when we played and all that sort of thing, that our childhoods were different to the players now. We didn't get lifts to many places. We basically had to walk everywhere or run. You're playing football games for 6 hours a day when you're 8 years old. That doesn't happen. So our bodies grew up differently to what the athletes are now. I think we had more sort of resilience and maybe sort of robustness, but I think these have more power and dynamism and speed. So you have to adapt your training, your preparation around what you have. It's no good me referencing what I did 20 years ago. It's obsolete. I think there's still the mindset is still can be the same. So the discipline needed, the attention to detail, the attitude on the training pitch, I don't see any difference in that. I think that has to be top notch. It has to be aggressive. It has to be intense. But how we manage those players, not just the injured players, but the players that are fit, it has changed a lot. And if you're not ahead of the curve or with the curve, then you're going to get left behind, or you're going to have players missing all the time, and that puts us in a difficult situation.
We mentioned support a lot, but even last night with a much smaller crowd than usual, there was a lot of noise, and the way following, particularly in places like Doncaster, has been immense.
Yeah, when we're allowed to take what we can take. So it's no look. I think whenever our supporters have an opportunity to support us, they get behind us. I think it was 5,000 there last night, which is great. I know it's small in comparison to what we usually get, but it's still a really good attendance for an EFL game if you look around the games. So honestly, we always have a deep gratitude to the people that come and support us, because it is a commitment, and just getting out of your house and coming down to Valley Parade or wherever we are is a commitment in the first place. So we have to match that commitment on the pitch, and it was great to see. Even those less numbers, look at what they saw last night. Their team performing, coming back from 1-0 down last minute. Andy Cook coming back and scoring 2 goals. The special moments can happen in any game of football. So they're all opportunities to enjoy the game we love. Okay, mate.
Same, Graham, last night, I mean, when we were talking afterwards about Andy and about the medical staff, and you sort of said it shone a light on those people. I think when people talk about it's a team effort, it's everybody involved. Not just those on the pitch.
Yeah.
It's nice when you can sort of see the evidence of that, isn't it? Because as you say, these people who some might know the names, some might just recognise a face. But they do play their big part, don't they?
They count a lot. They count a lot, especially for the players. Listen, it's obviously everyone talks about a manager's relationship with players and how we communicate and all that sort of thing. But I know as an ex-player that you're closer to the other staff than you are with your manager most of the time. You're more you're with them a lot more than you are with your manager. You talk to them in a different way. You're a little bit more open, I would expect. Certainly in a medical room, it's the gossip central of a football club, to be honest. It seems to be, it's always the social room where people go, because I think it's not a place you want to have to be in, because that means you're in a difficult place, but it's a place that players want to go in, because I think staff are always, they have an understanding of the human being behind the injury and behind the footballer. So I think it's a natural place for a footballer to go there and feel sort of warmth and comfort, and and then it goes down to the individuals as staff, and there has to be. I talk about trust a lot about between our team, knowing that your teammates there, and me with the players, trusting all the 20 to be there. Then with me, trusting that I've got their best interests at heart. But the players, the medical staff, have to build up that bank of trust with players, because their career is in their hands. If they're not looked after physically right, then that can cause problems. So I think that what the squad have towards the medical staff and all the staff here, I include everyone, the kit men, everybody, I think they have a deep trust for they care about them as people first and foremost, and they want them all to enjoy their careers. So it's good to see that connection. It's good for me to be able to have that support around me that lightens the load with 25 players to look after. That there's 4 or 5 of us all doing that, or taking on that responsibility.
As you say, when the players are pressing, as you say, your mate's behind you, you don't have to look. And so in a similar sort of way for yourself, that if there's a player injured being treated, yes, they'll do the best.
No, I have to have that trust with the staff as well. Because I can't manage everything. I definitely can't treat a player. Christ. I have trust in that person as well, and that's built up over time. But I like to give it first, and then it's theirs to lose or give away. So I think to be able to get a role in a professional football club, and certainly a club like this, I think you have to have something about you anyway. And but I think they quickly understand what we try to do here, because they're all relatively young staff as well at the club, which is good. I think they have a real connection with the players. Not that I don't, just because I'm old, but I think it's good. I think it's good. You have to have a variety of people and characters and personalities to come into work every day. I think the players have a real good feel for the staff behind the scenes, and that's good. And it's great to see when players, understand that and acknowledge that in the moment last night after Cookie scored. So it's good to see.
And as you say, it's not just the medical professional side of fixing the player, it is that social side, isn't it? Because they're going to spend so many hours, so many days basically in the same company. Yeah.
Well, if you think of the medical staff in particular, they're probably looking after the player at his worst moment, where he's incapable of playing football. And that can be difficult, from a human relationship. So you probably listen to more moans from a player than anyone else, or they're not in a good moment. They're born to play football. All the discipline, all the sacrifice they've made is to play football. If that's taken away from them, there's part of them missing. So they're picking up the pieces or keeping them together, keeping them positive, while still sort of instilling that discipline to guide them to where they have to do, where they have to be. They have to push them as well, and they have to squeeze them. But I think it's easy to do that if you build up a bank of trust between people. I think you can have honest conversations, and I think the players know they've always got their best interests at heart. I think if any person knows that in another person, you're going to trust them, aren't you? So I think they know there's a good way of communication from that staff to the players. And to me as well, they keep me informed on all the stuff that I need to be, but also then I have to have the balance of what's needed to win a game of football on every Saturday. And I do understand that no player is 100%, so it's all right. He's got this, he's got that. I'm sure you could have a list of at least 3 things on every player every single week. It's who can still compete at the level they need to, and who's going to be able to play without giving themselves further damage down the road. And we always try to miss those those issues if we can.
And obviously, Tom McIntyre is another player who's been around the promotion squad, been around 2 promotion squads. So again, is that sort of part of the thinking when you bring in a player like that? It's yet another character who's got used to success around him, and it's you've got that winning mentality just added to, sort of thing.
A little bit, yeah. I've spoke about it before in our recruitment. It wasn't the first thing. We had a specific profile of player that we wanted to bring in on a technical side and everything like that as a position. But when you get your 3 or 4 options, and then you dig deeper into the detail, and you see a player that's been around two successful teams, playing his part on the pitch, off the pitch, wherever it is. But being around that sort of environment, I think it's good, because it's the environment we've tried to create. Yeah, no, I just think I'd like to believe any player that comes into this environment feels that sort of culture anyway, and maybe recognise it from being in a successful team before. So that's what we try to create season after season in whatever club we manage. But it's important that. I think for the players already here, looking at a player coming in the door, okay, how's he going to help us? How's he going to make us better? And I think they always have every new player has that challenge to his teammates first and foremost. It was the first thing I thought of when I went to a new club, is how do I get the respect of my teammates straight away? And I think it's how you behave, it's how you play, how you train, and I think Tom's. We spoke to a couple of people about his character, and there's been nothing negative at all. It's all been positive stuff about him. So we look forward to working with him.
Obviously, you played the second half of last season with Charlton. I mean, hasn't done a lot, played much in pre-season. Is that right? So, how far off is he in terms of when you think he's going to be?
Yeah, I don't know yet. We've obviously he's trained today, so I think obviously the next 2 weeks we have no midweek games, so we can get some real training done and proper training. So it will be good to assess him. We'll sit down and speak to him how he feels about it all, but. It's difficult when you're bringing in a player from another club, because you don't know the intensity of their training, you don't get their data, all that sort of thing. You can look into their game time, but each player can look after themselves. You can have a player that's missed 6 weeks of football, be absolutely top notch because of how he works himself. You can have a player who's missed 2 weeks of football and he's a bag of rubbish because you don't look after himself. So it's all down to the individual to how they prepare themselves and look after themselves. So we'll assess that over the next few days and going into next week and give them the best opportunity.
It's nice to have that opportunity to to put that work into the player now, and obviously with the schedule calming down for a couple of weeks.
Yeah. It's been hectic, but it's been hectic for a good reason. That we've been winning games, and commencing in the League Cup. So I don't see any negative about that, and we've been able to use the squad to its full potential, which has been great as well. So I've actually enjoyed the capability of using every player. I think it's been good. I want to reward the players for their work and their support for the other players by getting their game time as well. But obviously I see training as an important part of being a professional football team, and since pre-season, really in the first week of the season, we've just been tickling over, really. That it really has been that, ready for the next game. But we've done a lot of work analysis wise and all that sort of thing, reviewing and then previewing our performances. So we found other ways of preparing the team. But for me, I love being out on the grass, and it'll be a good opportunity to get them out there.
Obviously, the Donny game this weekend, 3,000 away fans there as opposed to
right?
1.5, I think.
Okay.
So, it'll be nice because there'll be a lot of people who wanted to go to that game last year who couldn't.
Yeah.
And I think there's so it's going to be a big old turnout, and it's going to be a wall of noise when you go out there, isn't it?
Yeah, it'll be good. But look, every home club has the right to deal with their game and how they see fit. It's no problems with that. But we know we can take numbers wherever we go in the country, and they're always going to back us. But I think it helps create a better atmosphere in the stadiums. Every player and every manager wants to work in full stadiums with great atmosphere. So I'm sure Saturday will be no different to that. So we're looking forward to the challenge.
And the away form, which you were saying, needs to improve this season. The early signs have been very positive, haven't they, in terms of performances?
Yeah, and results. Yeah. So but like I say, it's only 5 away games. That's all I'm looking at. I'm not looking at whatever went on last season. It's just about this season. New group of players, or half a new group of players. New challenge. I've been delighted with the players in how they've approached all the games, home and away. Apart from last night a little bit. But listen, consistency is hard to find. It's hard to get, hard to maintain. But they found a way to win a game of football again last night, which was brilliant to see. But home and away, we have a style of play. We have an attitude that we want to take home and away, and we don't see the difference in that. And I didn't want to carry anything forward, even other stuff from last season. We had to have a fresh start and meet the challenge head on again. So hopefully we can continue that.
As you say, finding a way, as you did against Wimbledon last week, again, that's another sort of box ticked in a sense of coming from behind 2 games in a row to win now. Again, it just builds up that sort of belief and that conviction, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's you are your experiences. How you sort of understand them, how you take them forward, how do you learn from them. So I think the players and the team needs to go through everything to when you get to the end of the season, you sort of understand what the challenge is because you probably experienced it a few times before. So, I just want my team to have that. They don't get down about things. They don't carry things forward in a negative sense. They're always seeing the opportunity that's right in front of you. So, for me, if we can maintain that attitude more times, more often than not, then I think we'll always be in a good place. It's only when you carry that baggage around, I think it just affects your next action, your next behaviour, and we don't want to be that. And I think the players have shown great signs of being able to put anything to the side and being positive about the next time.
Hi, Graham. I just wonder, with the momentum and the stability that both yourselves and Doncaster have at the moment, from your perspective, does that allow you to just manage slightly differently, concentrate more on details, maybe?
I'm not sure, really. I think all managers understand the speed you need to try and create success, or give people hope of success and anticipation. So I think the game is geared around short periods of time and small wins along the way to get time. Stability comes from winning, in my mind. So obviously I've been here, just under 2 years. And other managers, have been at their Grant's been at his club for a couple of years now. So the stability's come from winning games and being able to build up trust and relationships with board members, with staff members, with players. So I think you can. I don't think you can look too far ahead. I think we're always doing that anyway as managers, because you have to manage in the long term, but you have to win in the short term to give you that option. If you just went week by week, you wouldn't ever progress. I think you have to have a sort of long-term vision, but you have to work in the now. So I think I don't know how much our work would change, to be honest, from the first month to the 20th month, to be honest. I don't see the difference in how we go about our job now to when we did 2 months into it. I think we're always trying to protect the long term or plan for it by winning in the immediacy. So I don't know if that's a long-winded sort of answer to a complicated question.
And when you have that foundation in place, I mean, to bring in 11 players is a lot, but because you've got that foundation, does it not feel like a lot?
Yeah, it doesn't feel a lot, to be honest. It doesn't seem like that. I don't know. I'm not sure why it feels like that. Maybe because we did a lot before we'd even kicked the ball in training. So from day one of pre-season, I think the first week felt a bit strange because there was a lot of new faces. But because of the work we did in that first week, and we were off site, and we had a couple of overnight stays that week. I think it sped up the process of getting people into the groove of things, and I think there were good characters coming into a good group. So I think that smooths the way as well. So I'll be honest, when it got to the first day of the season, I didn't feel like it was a new team, to be honest. I felt like we'd been working together for a long time, and a quick understanding of each other and how we work was quite evident. So I think when you say that number, 11 players, it doesn't seem like that to me. I feel like this team has bonded quite quickly. So hopefully we can continue that, because there's a long way to go, obviously.
Yeah. And when your team is winning games, as you are at the moment, do you have to be sort of more attuned to the mental side to see that player X isn't getting complacent? Player Y, like Brad Halliday, is still training the way he's trained?
We're always on top of the mental side of it, because it works both ways. We don't want them to get too down. We don't want them to get too high. We have to have that balance, knowing that around the corner could be anything, and we have to be prepared for that and just see it for what it is and not dramatise it. Be on the floor, be on the ceiling. We have to be consistent in our behaviours and our thoughts if we can. And listen, but we also take into emotion and understand that people are going to get angry at times. They're going to be sad. They're going to be happy. So we understand that. It's just not dragging it out and taking it forward, and overblowing things. So that's where I see it. So we're always aware and focusing on how a player is feeling, behaving, and you can see it in body language, you can see it in communication, you can see it how they're just interacting with the squad members or their other teammates around the changing room. So there's always telltale signs about a player's mood at any particular moment. So that's just an ongoing thing. I think it's a really important aspect of professional sport. In any sport, the mindset, I think you can see that. There's examples of that every single week. So I believe strongly in how we prepare players mentally for the challenges ahead, and staff members, because it's important. Staff members are part of that performance as well.
And for those of us covering Yorkshire clubs, this is a brilliant League One this season. The fact that others have started so well as well. Does that rivalry, the crowd you talked about, does it all help to push your club on? The fact that there's this high standard across the board at the moment.
Yeah, I don't think it's just in Yorkshire that the standard is high. It's all over the place. But I think people like derby games. I think they're exciting. I think it's a short journey usually, and I think you generally get bigger crowds. So I think for all those things, I think they're good to experience those. But I don't think for us we see it as a different challenge or we have to raise our standards or in any way. I want us to have our own levels of standard, not set by the opponents that we're playing. So, but I think they're exciting games. I think you look all over the country, or all over the world really. There's big derbies all over the place, and I think they're the games that are talked about more than most. So, we look forward to them. I think they're all tough challenges. I think it is a high standard in League One. I mean, of the the teams that we're talking about are all, I believe, going to be competing at the top end. So it's just another one of those on Saturday.
Great, thank you very much.
Just a few from me, Graham, if that's all right. How much of a reward do you think it was for Andy to, after the long road he's been through, to come on the pitch and get the goals, especially for a striker?
I don't think he could have got anything better, to be honest. No, I do actually. I think he got a third and got a hat-trick. So that's what he was saying this morning. He mentioned something about, I think after he'd scored 2, he had an opportunity maybe to get in the box, but he was knackered. And then he was just thinking, I could get me hat-trick. That's how a goal scorer thinks. But no, I think there's moments in your career that you get that are sort of handed down to you for your endeavours from elsewhere. And I think last night was a case in point for Cookie. I think it'll be a game that he'll remember for a long time, and goals he'll remember for a long time, because he's been through the mill with an injury, as all players are when they're out for so long. But if you can, it's like a goalkeeper missed for so long, making a world-class save for a striker, scoring 2 goals and winning the game. It don't come better than that. And
as you say, it's important to look after him and not think that you can throw him in quickly and lose all that hard work over the last 8 or 9 months.
Yeah, and we spoke to Cookie about that as well, because it's important that we manage his expectations, because we don't want him getting too down, despondent if he's not involved going forward in a couple of games and too excited about things and getting ahead of himself. It's important he understands his body and he understands the process he's been through, the journey he's been through. That it's not quite over yet, but I think he feels good around his knee. I think that's it. I think it's just his general body, which any player who's missed 8 months of football would feel like. That's just normal. It's just making sure that the knee feels fine, and touch wood, that's how it feels now, and will continue to be.
And as you touch on, we're heading into a little bit of a break where it's Saturday games. How important is that for you personally as a coach to be able to have that time on the grass and try different things or implement more things that you want to, rather than the furore of the recovery game?
Yeah, I think the players enjoy the games. I think our record in this spell and the previous spell in February and March suggests that they enjoy the game. The fixture list, the heavy fixture list, but you can't go through a whole season playing every single midweek. You do need that recovery at a certain point. So I think it's coming just at the right point for us to recover. But it's also important that we don't just completely relax, that we have to maintain our intensity and our momentum going into open weeks where we can train. We still have to have the same mindset that we're preparing for a game. It's not, even though it might be a Tuesday session for a Saturday game, we still have to have the intensity like it's the game tomorrow. And that's a balance that we always try to maintain in the players' mindsets. And but I think physically it would be a great little boost for the players to just have a couple of days where, because games are obviously harder physically than a training session, but players are on this earth to play football, so they enjoy the games.
What about for you?
I enjoy the games as well. I love the games. I get excited. I'm not one of these. I'm not one of these guys that sees the match day as the worst thing. I think it's the best thing. Honestly, I do. I think it's brilliant watching your team play, watching your team sport, and then how can you help them? How can you influence them win a game of football? The interaction between the crowd and the team and the staff. I love all parts of match days. It's great, but I just want to win as often as possible, and I know the opportunity to do that helps if we've got better numbers in the squad, and if we've got time to keep them all fit. That's the best opportunity for me. So I've been in the game too long to differentiate between a midweek game and training. It's been my life for 30 odd years, so it's just the norm for me.